Find the derivative of the function and simplify your answer. We have a function h of x equals x over the square root of x squared plus 1. Now I know because of this division we will be using the quotient rule, but before we do that I would like to change this denominator into x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power to make life easier in a few seconds. To find the derivative using the quotient rule, we will start with the denominator, x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power, and we will multiply the derivative of the numerator. And from that we will subtract the numerator times the derivative of the denominator. And we will divide all of that by the denominator squared. Before we go any further, I want to stress to you not to simplify these exponents in the denominator. You'll see why in just a few moments. So in order for us to complete this quotient rule, we need to find the derivatives of what is left in the numerator. So that leaves us with x squared plus 1 to the 1/2. The derivative of x by power rule is 1, minus x times the derivative of x squared plus 1 raised to the 1/2 power tells us we're going to have to use the chain rule. We have x squared plus 1 on the inside and a 1/2 power on the outside. So the chain rule states we will take the derivative of the outside function and leave the inside of it alone. To that, we will multiply the derivative of what's on the inside. The derivative of x squared plus 1 by way of power rule is 2x. That is all still divided by x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power squared. From the first slide, we have our derivative. The only difference between this derivative and the derivative on the last slide is that there was a multiply by 1 here, and I just multiplied it. So, in order for us to simplify this derivative, we must consider this. This is going to be in the denominator. That means we will have a fraction in the numerator of a fraction, and we cannot have that. Let's simplify this term and see what happens. So this derivative equals x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power minus, it looks like in the second portion of this term, in these parentheses, 2 times 1/2 will reduce away to 1, and then we will have an x times another x will give us an x squared, and then since this expression here has a negative exponent, that will go to the denominator. So it'll be x squared over x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power. All of that is still over this x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power squared. Now in order for us to reduce away this denominator, we need to multiply the entire fraction by that denominator, x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power. Since we're doing it in the top of this big fraction, we also need to multiply the denominator by that same thing, x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power. In the denominator, we now have this expression being squared, and we're going to multiply it to that another one of those expressions. So we will have 3 of these being multiplied, which tells us we will have x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power cubed. And in the numerator, since we are multiplying this term to the first term, we add the exponents together since x squared plus 1 is the same base as x squared plus 1. So 1/2 plus 1/2 makes an x squared plus 1. Since we are multiplying this also to the second term, that will cancel with the denominator, and thereby eliminating the fraction in the numerator, just leaving us with a minus x squared. So our final answer will be, in the numerator the x squared and the negative x squared cancel, so we're left with 1 over, now we can combine these together. Since we have an exponent being raised to another exponent, we will multiply these together and get x squared plus 1 to the 3/2 power. That is the simplified derivative